For anyone who cares about the big issues afflicting house markets, the federal budget delivered on the 9th of May was a monumental disappointment. Many Australians, including myself, believe that the biggest issue confronting the most people in this country is the cost of shelter. The big issue is the cost of buying homes and the cost of renting homes, with one key word describing the essence of the problem: shortage. We have a shortage of everything that matters in the housing markets at the moment. We have a shortage of listings of homes for sale. We have a chronic shortage of homes for rent. We have a shortage of construction of new dwellings. And we have a shortage of the materials and tradespeople needed to build new homes. And we have a shortage of affordable options for people early in the property life cycle. And there was nothing, and I repeat nothing, in this federal budget which addressed the underlying causes of these endemic problems. Tossing an extra $15 a week in rental assistance to the people in most need at a time when rents in our cities have risen by more than $100 a week on average in the past year is pitifully inadequate. And it does nothing to address the underlying issue, the shortage of rental properties, with vacancies the lowest ever recorded. Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers gave a barely perceptible nod to these problems in his budget speech on the 9th of May. There was nothing announced to address these shortages. There was simply a repeat of a soundbite we heard from Chalmers last year, that they plan to build 1 million new homes in the future. But they won't start building these new homes until next year, maybe, and it will take 5 years to deliver the promised outcome. And there's another big shortage here as well, the shortage of detail about how this will be achieved. Given that we don't have enough tradies or enough of the essential materials to service the existing low levels of home building, where does the federal government propose to find those necessary ingredients to build 1 million new homes? Where will they be built, and who's going to build them? What about people who need a rental home right now? And I mean, this year or next year. This vague, unfunded and unplanned media soundbite won't happen fast enough, if it happens at all, to help those currently living in tents and parks, or sleeping in cars, or couch surfing, or camping under bridges as winter approaches. This is dismally inadequate from a government that claims to care about the most vulnerable in our society. And the worst of it is that the absence of solutions to the multiple housing crises in Australia is happening because our politicians simply don't understand the problem. They don't understand how we got into this mess, and therefore they are unable to conceptualize any solutions. And in large part, this is because they're not talking to the right people. The only federal government decisions that will make a major difference to the rental shortage crisis are ones that will make it worse, not better. They insist they're going to increase the overseas migrant intake without considering where these large numbers of extra people are going to live. Hundreds of thousands of additional people are going to be competing for a product which is already in record levels of low supply. I never thought I'd say these words, but federal opposition leader Peter Dutton is right. To initiate a massive increase in the migrant intake without consideration of where they will live amid a housing shortage crisis defies all logic. Meanwhile, we have state governments announcing policies which will exacerbate the problem. The collective decisions of state governments, as well as bureaucratic entities like APRA and the Reserve Bank, over the past 5 or 6 years have created the rental shortage. And they continue to make the situation worse, with decisions like those from the state governments in New South Wales and Queensland to try to control rents, rather than dealing with the underlying cause of rising rents, which is the shortage of rental properties. The degree to which these ivory tower politicians don't get it is indeed extraordinary.